Hi, we're back.
Everybody, sorry for the last, I guess 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was a little under the weather, and
Then I was on vacation, and then it flowed into school, back to school, and yeah.
Thank you to the teachers taking the kids back. We appreciate y'all.
Yes, definitely.
You deserve every dime you get. We wanted to return. I know a few weeks ago we had asked a question about like exes and stuff like that, and thank you for everybody that commented with that. There was a lot of great information and things to that we agreed with, and then things that we didn't necessarily agree with, but it gave us a good perspective, so we were able to add parts of that to our book that's coming out. So thank you again everybody for your comments and support. So we wanted to do something a little different. We kind of just thought of this on the fly while Claire was cooking. We wanted to talk about relationships and kids that aren't yours. Blended families, pretty much. So I'm gonna give this to
Before that, we are both wearing shirts by one of my good friends, Patrice. It's LWD, which means Ladies Who Dine. It's a very positive, motivational group for women.
Yes.
And these are the shirts and other merchandise that she puts out for positive affirmations and everything like that. It comes in adult sizes and children's sizes. So.
Girl power.
Yes,
all day.
It's great support for her because she supported me all through the years. So thank you.
Thank you. I gotta get my hat though.
Yeah.
I gotta get the girl power hat.
So back to the question. As most of you know, Shah has an older son, and then we have from a previous relationship, and then we have a daughter together. So I am what you call the proverbial stepmom.
No wire hangers.
Yeah. So it's, for me, it's a little challenging because of how the whole relationship started with his son. So we dated before, and then we had broken up, and then he had his son, and his son's mother and I weren't on the same page years ago, and she didn't want me around him. So when we would be in situations where the family would come together at his mom's house, it was very awkward. You could cut the tension with a knife in the room. There was no speaking to each other. It was really to other people in the room, and never in that sense. So I never got a chance to really bond with him when he was younger. It's only now that our relationship is in a good place between all of us after our daughter was born that he's more involved in our life. But it's difficult for me to
Your screen is sideways.
Oh, it's difficult for me to get, hold on a second.
I think your accelerometer is locked, isn't it?
Oh.
Give me a second, people. We'll be right with you. We're actually also doing this live on the Lay and Shaw page as well. So, we'll have that ready for you in a minute. It's a pretty good story.
It's on.
It's not on. I don't know. What you say? You can hold it if you want.
Oh, stop it.
Give me a moment, child.
See, and then it tells you to rotate it. Rotate it the other way. The other way.
Which other way? This way?
Yeah.
See? Sorry.
Okay, it's not working.
See, this is what happened when we first started. when we started doing these videos, it was changing angles and things like that. And remember, the whole couch thing was in the middle. It wasn't my fault, but
So we're gonna stop that for now.
we're gonna stop that one. We'll continue here.
Yes.
And you can start it again if anything. We'll just prop it because we get a lot of our wonderful people that are here.
Delete. What do we have it on here?
Okay. So you gonna repeat all that?
No.
So hopefully that's a little better. I know the lighting is gonna change a bit, but you'll still be able to hear us. But as Leia was saying, it was a little difficult. I'll admit, I am 100% the reason for the awkward situation. I am 100% at fault. Okay, and it took me many years to admit that. It took me many years to stop being in denial that I had created, such a toxic situation as being a new father, being in a previous relationship, and trying to be the responsible individual, but wasn't seeing it from all sides of being present for their feelings and as well as mine, and then as well with Calais. So it was very difficult in just the synopsis of my son even being here, and me and his mom no longer being together, still trying to raise him. So it's difficult to bring someone else in and around that doesn't have children and still have them, be as loving and caring, as they are to me, also to my son. So we understand that, many relationships don't work out as well as ours has in this particular situation. And I think Anaya really being born helped it a lot. Helped it a lot with just her being such a happy child all the time. It actually took quite a while before my son and my daughter actually met. And
she was 5 or 6 months before they met, and they actually were really good. Yeah. Surprisingly, sometimes older children, when they're introduced in that sort of situation, they become resentful. But he wasn't. He was very loving and has been very loving to his sister. And
very protective.
Yeah, very protective. They're like two peas in a pod. I mean, as he gets older, of course, because he's gonna go through puberty and all that other stuff, and she's gonna want to be around, but he's not gonna want her around. So
right, they're 5 years apart.
Yeah.
So the energy that they both have. My son has a lot of energy, and my daughter has just as much. So they're able to keep up with each other, which is great. They're very aware of each other and being protective. It just so happens that recently, and this is why we do these videos, these are us being really open about these things. My son actually starts now asking more questions. Okay, he's asking more questions about me and his mom and my current marriage, as well as where he fits in all of that, and even how to address certain things or topics to be able to speak to Calais openly as he speaks to me. And constantly just being with him and trying to reiterate that she's an extension of me. So being able to talk to me, should be as open to be able to talk to her, and finding commonalities and the things that they enjoy, which is one of them is video games. So that they're able to connect on certain levels itself. But I think the biggest issue when it comes to blended families is a child looking at the step parent and saying, well, you're not my mother, or you're not my father. And to me, there's a part of resentment that stands there, and a lack of respect for the relationship. And for me as a dad, I take it kind of personally, that if there's any level of respect that's lacking on any level, I'm big on respect. So how does a step parent, bless you, how does a step parent like step into that role and still be as open and and caring to a child that's not theirs?
Well, you just have to remember that you made this choice to be with this individual and take on everything that comes with them, be it a child or be it any other situation. You chose to because you love them. So you have to face these things along with them. And if that is, raising a child, then that's your choice. That's what you want to do. For me, it's very, like I said, very difficult because I don't know how to interact with him, and I feel guilty too, because it's like, well, I want to be able to, but one, he is a teenage boy, and two, I'm not his mother, so I don't necessarily know. I've never been in this situation, so.
He's not a teenager yet, but yeah, got it.
Right. Oh, okay.
He's on the cusp.
Yeah. He's 12.
I want him to be as young as possible. That's my baby boy. That's my oldest. Like I don't want him to.
Anyway, he's on that. So it's very hard, and it becomes like we speak to each other, but we don't speak to each other. It's not like, hey, how's your day? How you doing in school? It's nothing like that. It's just like, hey, how are you? Good, how are you? And it's always like that. And then, like you said, the commonalities, when we do play video games, we can interact then, but then it just stops. And I've been trying to find better ways to interact or connect, but I just don't know. And like I said, it is a guilt thing.
I mean, we do these videos again to be open and honest with everybody. We don't have all the answers, and we're still working through some things. But always having different perspectives helps us to better understand, how to, continuously follow in with the wholeness, in keeping our family together. As the parent to both children, I'm the common denominator to both my son and my daughter. So their connection is always key between the kids itself. But then even with our daughter, with my son's mother, there's an open door policy, but it doesn't always, connect as per taking someone up on the offer, to do so. My son spends, time with me more so than my daughter spending time over at his house. Mainly because I live here, so they're always with me. I really want, my son and my wife to be able to connect and vibe, more so than anything. But you never want it to be forced. You don't want it to be like, well, you have to speak to her or you have to talk to him. And, I don't think that breeds, a natural, positive, reinforcement to that type of situation, especially as he's coming into, his next stage of adulthood and becoming a teenager and everything.
Yeah.
He's seeing more, understanding more, and becoming more aware to now feel confident enough to ask questions. As much time as we spend together and going on trips and, visiting different places, the conversations take us, but so far. And I'm not the type to judge. When my son talks to me, he's like, Dad, I want to tell you about this, and I know you're going to get mad. I used to get mad. At certain things. You can't do that. You can't do this. You want to be strict. You want to be stern, but at the same time, I started noticing he's not me. He's not the same as how I was raised, and he doesn't respond the same way. See, I would respond to my mom a certain way that allows her to know, okay, we're, the engagement is there. We can connect. My son doesn't necessarily do that. So I have to do it a bit differently. And what I've chosen to do has worked. It's worked out for him. It's worked out for me. There's less crying. There's less yelling. There's less stress. Okay. Less trips to the hospital for me. You know, and that's a big plus. So just to see that I can connect with him on a level where he's now feeling even more comfortable. Now it's about trying to get that same type of vibe, and it's going to take time to have with Leia, and that way they can have that open, you know, type of relationship. We have that with our nieces and our nephews as well. Like, listen, we understand, you know, our brother, aunts, and everything. It's cool, but you come see Uncle Shah and Auntie Leia anytime, and we can talk, you know, openly about everything and anything, and still not have that judgment. And I guess because they're so not really close in our age, but we know what they're going through, right, and we're the closest to it. So having a blended family and, you know, staying with those same types of principles and respect and being kind and, you know, making sure that they're a good person, they should still have the same interaction outdoors, you know, with the rest of the world and society as they do indoors. And that's what we're working on, to making sure that my son especially, has that vibe with myself as well as with Leia, so then he can go outdoors and say, you know what, I got that at home regardless of what house I end up in. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, the whole blended family thing for many relationships and marriages, it's difficult, you know, and you want to know where your barriers are, but at the same time, I think if we just focus on just being good people and showing them by example of being good, then, you know, they'll have to open up on their own, you know, to I guess what they're more receptive to. Girl power. LWD. Yeah. Shout outs. Yeah, I like all that. Yeah. That's pretty much it for this week. You can catch our previous videos up on our Leia and Shah fan page on here on Facebook. You can go to our website at Kellum Unlimited. That's KELLUM Unlimited.com. And you can also check out our videos on there, our blog, where we talk about pretty much everything and anything. Our conversations are wild, from sports and politics to how do sharks mate, and like,
oh, you would think
I'm
something like
random.
that.
I like information. I like to know different things, and one day it'll save my life, I guess. But yeah, if you ever get caught around a Wolverine, it's already over.
I'm done.
So thank you, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. We'll be back continuously. Kids are in school. Thank you, teachers, once again. And yeah, see you later.
Bye.